Welcome everyone to the Nerd Nook. I'm your host, Evan Teague, looking like always is Noah Bailey. So, last week, we talked a lot about how, even though HBO MAX is arguably the best streaming service on the planet right now, the new heads of Warner Bros. Discovery are kind of actively trying to make it the not as good. Just for whatever reason, just deciding, nah, we're just going to do everything in our power to make it not very good anymore.
Your
And
official statement. No.
they um, seem to be continuing that trend this past week because it was announced last Wednesday that literally dozens of shows, both animated, live action, even like HBO Max originals, are just leaving HBO Max. Just
It's the purge.
like it was announced on Wednesday they would go, and then by Friday they were gone. Like,
I mean, and that's the thing. Like the speediness of how quickly they got rid of everything. It was just like, whoa, like there was like no notice really. It was just kind of like, oh yeah, these are all leaving right away, and
and
now they're gone. Too bad.
like not every single one of these shows is something I personally cared about, but like regardless of whether or not you were actually going to watch any of these shows, it's still something that, you know, took a lot of time and effort, and a lot of people put their time and effort into making these shows. Like, I didn't love Uncle Grandpa. I thought it was kind of stupid. But like there was still like a passion behind it. And like all the people, all the creators on Twitter and other social medias were like, we put all this hard work into it, like, you know, and now it's just gone forever. Even though it's kind of funny that there's one episode of Steven Universe. Have you ever seen any Steven Universe?
Not really.
Okay, it's pretty good. There's one episode of Steven Universe that's like a random crossover of Uncle Grandpa, and that episode is still on HBO Max. But everything else, like with Uncle Grandpa, is gone except for that one thing. But like, on top of stuff that I personally wouldn't really care about, some stuff that I like maybe would have gotten around to eventually. Stuff like OKKO, like a cute little superhero like thing. It was like the commercials looked fun. Mau Mau, like a cat ninja, again a cartoon. Like it just looked like a lot of fun. Close Enough is just gone now.
Why?
I don't know.
Like that? No, I mean that. Okay, that show was basically like regular show light, but like kind of for adults. Which like I don't get why. Like that show was. I liked it a lot. Like me and my brother loved that show, but it's like just and I'm just like, what the heck? Like why?
Yeah, like I wanted to watch that show eventually,
Yes,
and now I can't
you did.
legally. I say legally because
Details.
well, actually, like the head or like one of the heads of animation over at Cartoon Network, I believe, who like is part of HBO or part of it's whole thing, like they work closely with HBO on their animation stuff. They like after all these shows were canceled, they were like, well, they haven't wiped the Google Drives yet where we stored all the episode files, and literally nothing in my contract says I can't just release these to the public. So here you go. There's a whole Twitter feed of all these different shows that with a link to the Google Drive you can just watch, and like I have saved season one and two of Close Enough just on my phone. It's like if I wanted
There
to.
you go. There you go. It's like that back when Avatar wasn't on anything and they just had a Facebook thing of just the whole show just kind of going.
Mm-hmm. And like this is what really frustrates me about just this whole concept, because like just when HBO Max was first pitched, the idea was, Warner Brothers is one of the biggest movie studios on the planet. Like not only could we have everything Warner Brothers has ever made, everything they've ever partnered with. We could also potentially get just like a bunch of other random stuff that they could have, just thrown in there. And it wasn't like that at first. It took about a year for it to like really get going. But once it got going, there was a huge war chest of content just there for you to watch. Not all of it was my cup of tea, but it was all of it was there. Everything from Cartoon Network, everything from HBO, HBO MAX originals, Turner Classic Movies, just like a bunch of just
everything.
Good stuff that should be preserved. Like, I feel studios should want people to view this stuff legally. And now they're just taking down stuff that they made for HBO Max, along with over 200 episodes of Sesame Street. They're just wiped from the internet. Like, that's wrong. That is an incorrect decision. Just get rid of
and again, why? Like, it doesn't, like, there doesn't seem to be any rhyme or reason. They just decided, you know what? We're just gonna purge some stuff.
Mm-hmm. Like, it's now, this kind of stuff does happen all the time when major media mergers happen, but it shouldn't. Like, I get that when two companies merge, a lot of debt is left on the table that they have to deal with, and I guess in this case, they decided to deal with it by getting tax write-offs on everything they possibly could. They just canceled or removed everything they could get away with, I guess. And it was like, animation stuff, that's not important. We'll just get rid of it all. And then, also cancel all these other projects and other shows and stuff that were in development that we can just have as a tax write-off. And people aren't going to be mad at that, right? They'll still pay us $15 a month to watch all this stuff. Like,
right. First off, how dare you?
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I mean, like it's not so bad that I feel like HBO Max as a whole is just not worth it. But it's like the principle upsets me because it's like, okay, so what's stopping you guys from just doing this again with stuff I actually want?
Mm-hmm. Like, if they start getting rid of Ben 10 episodes or Teen Titans or Young Justice or the stuff they produce, what? Like, I like these things. I want to keep watching these things, but if they're not an option, like, I'm annoyed.
I don't get it. But I don't know. Maybe they'll take them away and then, oh, we brought them back just for you. We heard your. I don't know. I have no idea how this makes any sense. But
maybe they'll come back once the HBO Max Discovery.
Yeah, that's what I was
platform
thinking.
Happens, but there's no guarantee of that.
No, there's not.
Why get rid of them now? Why not just? I don't know. It has been kind of funny watching everyone getting rightfully mad at HBO Max or Warner Brothers as a whole, and then Warner Brothers has seemingly ramped up their advertising of HBO Max, because literally every single time on Twitter I see a promoted tweet or someone on my feed talking about HBO Max and how they didn't like this that got removed or something about it. Literally right below it is an ad for HBO Max. Every single
HBO
time.
Max is terrible. Did you say HBO Max? Look what we have.
You can start at $9.99 right now and watch all this stuff. House of the Game of Thrones House of Dragons is coming out soon, so get on to that.
It's like, no, I was trashing you.
You like Game of Thrones? Watch this for Game of Thrones stuff. It's like, I used to, but I don't know if I want you anymore.
Right.
And you will. I mean, obviously I could eat my words, but I don't think you'll ever see this kind of thing happen with Disney Plus. I know Disney, as far as like physical media, they did have the whole like vault thing, but now that it's digitally out there, they're not. I don't think they're gonna like cycle through stuff unless they have stuff they like had made deals with outside partners to get it on there. That could obviously cycle through. But as far as like Disney, Marvel, Star Wars, Discovery Channel, like all these things that are like not Discovery Channel, yeah, National Geographic, like those things, those are gonna stay on Disney forever.
They should. Again, there's no reason to get rid of it, so it's like you might as well just keep it all together.
Yeah, like anything that could be considered problematic or like anything that's, you know, behind the times, they throw a little disclaimer up and is like, we're still going to show this, but, you know, just know that, you know, you might not like something in here, but we're still going to preserve it because this content deserves to be preserved. HBO Max apparently doesn't agree with that. And that's bizarre to me.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they'll come out. There's more of a reason, but like, yeah, it's like I don't get it. Like, I don't know, but
yeah, and just before we started recording, I saw a headline that said Batman the Caped Crusader, that animated show.
Yeah.
That is apparently no longer being made at HBO and is apparently like being shopped around in other networks. So it might be a Netflix thing, or it might be, you know, Cartoon Network, or like some other
somebody else,
Amazon or somebody.
Amazon was pretty good with animation.
Yeah, but I fear I don't watch like a bunch of Amazon Prime stuff, but the two I've seen, The Boys and Invincible, those have only been 8 episodes per season. Each one's an hour long. I have a feeling this is the kind of show that would thrive best in a 22-ish minute thing. I don't know if Amazon does that. I know Netflix has dabbled in that before, so it might be better there, or whatever. But like, not to mention Warner Brothers basically got their start with Looney Tunes, like the OG cartoon. They're just like, we're not even gonna touch cartoons anymore, and then that's how we got our start. That's dumb. So dumb. We're not even going to touch a Batman cartoon anymore. Why?
I don't know. Maybe they're just kind of, I don't know. Yeah, because it's like, I mean, granted, there's been a billion Batman cartoons, but it's like, I mean, it's been long enough a new one can be made.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the last Batman show.
Was it Beware the Batman? Was that?
I think so, because that's the first one I was thinking. Because I think that's 2014.
Yeah, there's been other stuff with Batman in it, like Justice League Action, Young Justice,
right?
Even Harley Quinn, but they're not Batman shows,
right? Like, it's not like a Batman show. So like, as far as that, I think that was where the Batman was the last one.
Yeah.
So,
and this show was, just to jog your memory, if you remember, this show was going to be Bruce Timm, J.J. Abrams, and Michael Reeves. Yeah. All coming together to make this thing. Like, that's a team right there.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I'm like, what the heck? Because like, it's not like this wasn't a good idea. It's just we don't want it right now for some ever reason. But
maybe it'll be shopped around and get picked up by their own streaming service when it comes out next summer. Because I don't know.
I mean, at least delay it. Don't just drop it. But
I don't know. Like, I know they reconfirmed that the Blue Beetle movie is coming out next August, but I'm honestly pretty scared of that right now. Like, I think like I said before, I like the idea of DC just like making stuff. If they feel they can make a Blue Beetle movie, make a Blue Beetle movie. It doesn't be connected to anything else, just make that. Sure. But considering Batgirl was canceled when it was already done, and they don't want a Batman show on their streaming service,
that's not a good sign. Yeah. And like, that's the thing. It's like it was done, and they were just like, nah. And I'm just like, wow. All right, like that can't, just forget everybody who spent all their long time and hours working on that. But all right, like, I don't know, and like, I don't know. DC kind of just seems like they're kind of just in a. I don't even. They're like in a revolving door. They don't really know what's going on because it's like Black Adam. Dwayne. I'm convinced Dwayne Johnson is just forcing that to happen because it's Dwayne Johnson. He can do that. And then I think Shazam just because they're trying. There's something in the next Shazam movie or just Black Adam. They're going to be connected.
Mm-hmm.
So I think both of those are kind of forced to come out now because Dwayne Johnson's not going to let that slide.
Mm-hmm. And Aquaman, obviously Aquaman 1 made over $1 billion, so the sequel that makes sense.
Yeah. Plus, and they're bringing back Ben Affleck apparently, so it's like okay, they're definitely trying to get that going. But I feel like between everything going wrong with Flash and then Batgirl not working out, and they have Blue Beetles apparently. I mean, so far it's
and
on
apparently
the board still,
Batman 2 is like not officially greenlit technically
for some reason.
But Matt Reeves. I said Michael earlier. Matt Reeves is still like penning the script, and like everyone on the production team seems to like at least believe they are going to be able to make it. It's just internally not like said they will, but
that's weird because like the amount of success it had, it should have got greenlit immediately. But
see, it didn't break $1 billion; it only made $750 million. So it's
a failure. Which, to be fair, with a property like Batman, is kind of not a lot.
But it came out in March of 2022 when COVID was not over, in a non-summer month. With like, well, not really like not heavy competition, but like, there was other stuff coming out around then, like. But also, it was the start of a movie trilogy, like start of like a movie franchise, and with nothing else like attaching it. People weren't like completely sold on Pattinson's Batman yet. Like there was a lot potentially going against it.
Yeah.
Also, it was just super long, therefore less showings can be played in the theater. So
that is true. Like, and I feel like when you say a movie's 3 hours, people kind of like, oh, because like I remember even me being like, that's a long. Like it's Batman, so I'll see it, but I was like, that's a long.
Yeah. But it's not something like in the game where like you're ready for that 3 hours because you would.
Yeah, and it's like you were like. It's one thing to put 3 hours into something you basically had to see because you were super invested.
Right.
But this was 3 hours and you knew nothing prior going in. So it's like, this is a big investment.
But it turned out to be one of the best 3 hours I've ever had in theater. But
it was really good. It's just getting there is hard to do. And also just like, yeah, I think if they do make a sequel, personally, I know they tease the Joker, but I'm like, we've done the Joker to death. This would be what, the 4th Joker in live action?
At least.
I mean, not including Adam West's Batman.
Yeah.
At least movie wise.
Yeah,
but
4th,
I mean,
kind of recently, since '89, 4th, yeah.
Yeah, because like.
Like I don't mind him being established in the universe as existing, but he shouldn't be the main villain of the second one.
Yeah.
Especially
not even no, because there's also the like Joaquin Phoenix. I forgot about that.
Oh,
so like and see that's why I'm kind of like I feel like the Joker's a little oversaturated because it's like since 2008 there's already been 3 Jokers, so it's like we can you can give that a little time.
Yeah.
So
and especially since I feel like it makes sense for Harvey Dent to show up in some capacity in the next movie. I feel you don't want to have Joker and Harvey Dent show up in the same movie again. I know the story wouldn't be the same, but it would be.
It would be too similar because I mean it worked great the first time, but let's not do that again. That would be kind of. I feel like. You could do hard. I feel, but again, Batman has so many villains you could do. So, like, I feel like there's a lot of villains that would work well in this universe. Like, I feel like, I mean, they bring Penguin back, and then like a Harvey Dent story. You could do that. You could do like I don't know. I feel like this is a good Court of Owls universe, especially with how Gotham already kind of looks the dreary part, and that was a big theme. I feel like that would really work.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's a lot more you could do with that.
Mm,
So
yeah. Um, my roommate and I were watching the Under the Red Hood movie the other day,
mm,
and like that movie's Gotham looks perfect, and
yes,
I just love so much when Gotham has blimps. I don't know why, but just like the GCPD blimps
2021.
with the searchlights just look
Yep.
so good. I don't remember if the Batman had blimps, but the Batman 2 should have blimps.
I
No?
I think they did in that opening scene, didn't they? Maybe not. Maybe I'm just thinking in like my history of Gotham City. It's funny to me too because like only Gotham has blimps.
Yes.
I think that's the best part. It's like they don't have blimps in Metropolis. Well, actually, that's not true. They did in Superman the animated series, but like not that many. Like Gotham was like always blimps for no reason because it was that weird. We don't know what time period it is because we have computers, but we also have people driving basically Model Ts.
Yeah.
So like, we don't really know what's going
Like,
on.
even in the
but,
Batman, like every now and again, I had to remind myself, oh, this isn't like the 1980s because there's a thumb drive. It's like
right.
like every now
He's
and then, there's like some high tech thing that just like pops out. Like, oh yeah.
Well, yeah, no, like, you know, he's not, you know, he's live streaming, so you're like, you know, it can't be like the '80s. So it's like, okay, I gotta like,
The
he's
internet's
got
here. Like,
followers.
yeah.
He's got like,
but I love that aesthetic, and I would love to see more of that universe. And like, literally any villain, any story Matt Reeves wants to tell, I'm sure would be amazing. So just let him do it. But if the new head of Warner Brothers just randomly decides that 700 million for your first movie with, you know, high critical reception and fan praise isn't good enough, like that would be one of the biggest travesties of all cinema. Like it would be.
and again, it's Batman. Like that makes like every Batman movie it feels like has gotten one sequel more than it really needed. So if you think about it, so it's like the fact that this one wouldn't get one makes no sense.
Right. Yeah, but we'll see down the line what all happens with, you know, HBO Max or Warner Brothers or DC as a whole, because it's in a very weird place right now. That, you know, is I'm tempted to be pessimistic about it all, but like, you know, it might work out. You know, it might. I was very pessimistic about HBO Max as a concept until like about a year ago, when like it finally started actually being really good. Now I like it, but now I'm starting to dislike it again. So it's whatever. Moving over to Disney stuff. Not to miss out the conversation of, hey, what can we do to make our streaming service worse? Because, you know, Netflix and HBO Max are cornering that market right now, so Disney's got to jump in too. They decided.
Write that down.
Luckily, it's not as egregious, but it's still something I was afraid they would do. But now they actually are doing it. They are adding an ad version and a premium version with no ads. With the ad version being Disney Plus Basic, going for $7.99, and Disney Plus Premium, I think, going for $10.99.
No, you monsters! That is not okay. You can't not have ads and then start adding ads. Like,
Hulu did that, and Hulu did that, and then
yeah, but they shouldn't have. It
yeah.
was so I remember that was so messed up.
Yep. Uh-huh. It's especially funny to me because, like, Disney Plus is, I think, $7.99 right now.
Yeah.
So they're just going to be like, that version's, we're going to keep the same price, and we're not going to make a lower price one with ads. We're just going to keep that one and just add ads, and then make the one without ads that you've been paying. You know, you've been with no additional content or no additional like add-ons, $3 more, despite it being the same thing we've been paying for the past 3 years.
I hate being devil's advocate for the multi-conglomerate company, but it's like, I guess it makes sense, because it's like, if you offered the same thing, like, with no ad as is for the same price, you wouldn't really gain any money.
I agree. Yeah.
Because like I mean, if anything, you would lose money because people would go down. But it's like now it's like okay, well we have to make some money, but like I mean I hate the idea because it's like what the heck. But I'm probably gonna use this as a moment to like get the whole Disney Plus Hulu bundle thing because if that still stands at $12.99, that's just $2 more.
I have a feeling it'll like go up to 15 or something, but still like that's like Hulu is a very good product.
Yes.
There's some quirks about it that I don't love, but overall it's very solid. And then that you'll get ESPN too, so that's
So like I mean, will I use that? Probably not really, but I mean.
Although here's the question. Oh, I just thought about this. Considering they are, changing the price of Disney Plus and having that 2 SKUs in the current Disney bundle, it's Disney Plus, Hulu without the ad, like Hulu Basic, Hulu with ads, and ESPN Plus.
No,
well, they just do Disney with ads, Hulu with ads.
No, I don't want the all ads version and the all not ads version. You want? I mean,
I mean, they might do that.
And if they were smart, they would, which they are, so they probably are.
Like, I hate it because literally the only reason currently that I don't have Hulu with ads is because I get Hulu through my Spotify, and I have to like cancel both and re-get both at a way higher price. So it's just not worth it. Like I'm fine with Hulu with ads, but like there's a lot of shows on there that are like I would be way more willing to watch if I didn't have
it. Right. Because there are some, they're like 2-minute ads. They are like egregious.
And it's the same 3 ads every single commercial break. I had them literally memorized.
I got to the point where I just muted them. I couldn't deal with it. It's just, like, on the one hand, I feel like we're just spoiled from how it used to be, where we actually had real commercials. But on the other hand, it's like, why am I watching ads?
Thought we were past this.
Right? I thought we evolved. That's the whole point of streaming. So we don't have. It's like streaming's just becoming cable with extra steps now.
Yep.
Or I guess less steps. I don't know.
Well, I mean, it could be extra considering you have to like potentially subscribe to like 8 different platforms.
Yeah, it's true.
Paramount Plus and Hulu and Disney and I guess Discovery
Amazon
for
Prime,
now. Amazon Prime, Peacock if you want whatever they have.
I don't know. Like I've got Disney, I've got Hulu, I've got Netflix, HBO Max, and Amazon Prime. But it's like I can't. I'm not going bigger than 5. I can't. Like I'm sorry. Like I can't do Peacock or like Paramount. Like no, I can't.
Not until the Avatar stuff comes. I'm definitely not touching that.
Just even then, I'll probably just do my pirate hat. Like I don't even. I haven't used it in a while, but I'm sure it's still my boat still sails. Like I don't know, but I just
and to an extent, I don't, but I also kind of understand the idea of Disney. Like, they've been adding so much. So many very expensive shows to Disney Plus. They're going to continue adding more and more Marvel, Star Wars, other stuff, etc. Like I'm sure that the Percy Jackson, the Aragon show, and all the other stuff they're adding, I'm sure that's not cheap. So I get that, like probably their profit margins are very slim right now, even though they're the second most subscribed streaming service. The profit margins are still probably pretty thin, considering all the stuff they pump out, so increasing the price makes business sense.
Yeah, but
they still are undercutting most of their competition by a pretty decent amount. Because Netflix is like almost $20 now.
Yeah, it's like 15 something, isn't it?
Yeah, for way less content, way less good content.
Especially now, they're cutting all their shows.
Yep, like almost any movie that I want to watch is either HBO or Amazon. And for now. So this won't go into effect until December 8th, although that does kind of make me wonder, like, I do the thing where I just like pay for a year, and right now I think it's $85 for a year. Will And that renews on like November 19th or something like that. So I wonder how it'll renew for the 85 and then will it like add whatever on in December, or will I just like get that time for discounted? I don't know. Will that even be an option this year? I don't know. But regardless, that's something you just gotta be ready for, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, like, I get it, and like it does make sense, but like, no.
At least they're not like upping their price and also, getting rid of all these shows and also, just doing all just.
They're not being Netflix.
Yeah.
Not yet, at least.
Yeah. Okay. Sticking with Disney, there will be a Disney and Marvel games showcase on September 19th.
Ooh. Okay.
Yeah. So probably we're looking at more information on Jedi Star Wars Survivor, Star Wars Jedi, whatever. That Midnight Suns game. Possibly a look at Spider-Man, but I have a feeling Sony would want to save that for their own thing. But
yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Just because it's kind of more a Sony thing.
I'm hoping for like, at least one other, possibly one other Star Wars game if it is going to be like a big major announcement thing. Ultimate Alliance 4 could be cool. The first one was like a decent hit. So, yeah. Yeah, are there any other like just pie in the sky Marvel / Star Wars games that you would specifically right now that you would want?
I mean, kind of like you said, I know like Spider-Man is supposed to be, like Wolverine probably are going to be more like Sony. So like those are the two big ones that I was thinking of, but also they're probably like, another Avengers DLC you didn't ask for. It's like the first thing I was on my mind. But
yeah, I think there's going to be some kind of Avengers announcement, whether it be She-Hulk or something else, because She-Hulk has been in the data files for a while now. But even though She-Hulk was, premiered last week, they announced someone else. It was Winter Soldier. They randomly announced Winter Soldier the day She-Hulk premiered, when I feel could have done the character that made more sense, but whatever.
I mean, I feel like I guess they're probably gonna wait till after
Sober?
like I mean, maybe not sober, but like maybe halfway through. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, I'm with you. But
yeah. Trying to think. I think if there's any other like reasonable things to expect from this Disney Marvel showcase. I feel like there's one other Marvel game out there. Oh, there's a Black Panther game that was leaked.
Oh, that's right.
By some EA subsidiary.
Yeah, they were talking about doing that. But yeah, that is right. Hold on, what was it?
I mean that makes sense considering Wakanda Forever is coming out soon, so go ahead and get that going. That makes sense.
Right. It's supposed to be like this really open world game, which does sound pretty cool.
Yeah. There's that. There's the. I think it's called Avatar Frontiers, made by Ubisoft. That I haven't heard a whiff of that since E3 2020, 21. It's been over a year. Like it's been a while. And again, considering the movie is coming out soon, it would make sense to push that if it qualifies here. So
makes the most sense.
Yeah. even though that's not coming out till at least 2024. But give us at least a new glimpse or something at it. But yeah, regardless, I like game announcements and game showcases. So even if it's stuff we already know about,
Yeah,
new information on Midnight Suns and Jedi Survivor is going to be pretty good.
that's the biggest thing. Yeah, because we're really excited for that. I know I am.
In other nerd news, so this next topic is, I find it just very funny, but also like potentially huge and kind of scary potentially. So there's this one group, I guess, called the Embracer Group, who recently, like over the past couple of years, has just kind of been in the background, just kind of like buying game studios. Just every couple of months, just like they purchased a new game publisher, game studio, etc. Here's a list of some of the studios that they currently own. Recently, they purchased Crystal Dynamics and Eidos Montreal from Square Enix. They're the guys that make the Tomb Raider games, Deus Ex, Guardians, and the Avenger game. So they just have them now. THQ Nordic, that's actually kind of how they started. So this group essentially rose from the ashes of THQ, who's been around since like the 80s or 90s. You've heard of them. Like,
Oh yeah.
they went under in like 2011. They filed for bankruptcy. Then they like rose back up as like THQ Holdings, and then rebranded to Embracer. But yet now they're like one of the biggest media companies out there. It's crazy. They own Darksiders and a bunch of other stuff. Saber Interactive, who owns Aspire, who were working on the Knights of the Old Republic game, and now it's working under Saber Interactive Prime. Gearbox, who makes the Borderlands games, used to work on the Gears of War games. Deep Silver, who makes the Metro, who makes Saints Row, and just a bunch of other stuff. And they also just like randomly own Dark Horse Comics, like Hellboy and all them.
Yeah.
So
Who is this?
the Embracer Group. There's some like there's some entity over in Sweden who just owns a bunch of stuff.
They're making a huge move, so.
Like for a while, it seemed like they were just like buying up a bunch of like publishing studios, because Deep Silver is mainly a publisher. Saber, THQ Nordic, they're mainly a publisher. But then they bought Crystal Dynamics and Eidos, and Gearbox recently, who are all like heavily developers. And nothing so far, from their like development strategy has seemed to really change. They're just owned by someone else now. But the reason I bring that up now is last week it was announced that the Embracer Group purchased Middle Earth Enterprises. So they now own like all of the media operations outside of the books for the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit stuff.
Oh.
Just all of it.
Like everything? Can you do that?
Yes. Apparently. They I don't know exactly to what extent, because obviously Amazon is going to have their own Lord of the Rings show coming out soon. Warner Brothers has the movie rights, but I don't know if but since they own the IP per se of well, do they have to like pay Embracer now for using the stuff? But I do know that any games going forward will be made under someone at Embracer Group. And they also specifically said they bought them to make like movies and shows and games and stuff, like with these iconic characters like Gollum and Gandalf and Aragorn, all these like fantastic characters, and like I don't know what to think of this.
I mean, it's interesting because it's like they're just kind of randomly buying stuff, but at the same time, I feel like if you were gonna make a big move in the gaming market, this is what you would do. You kind of just casually collect different like studios and properties and just go for it. So
yeah,
I mean, it makes sense.
It's one of those things where like this could go one of two ways. Either they're a very like a malevolent company where they just like exist. We own you, but you can kind of do whatever you want. Or they're more of an EA where it's like one wrong move and we fire you. It's like it could be one or the other. Because for a while,
I feel like it might be the former because I feel like they're trying to like take what's good, like what they've done that's been good lately, and then, hey, let's make sure these companies get treated right and let them get back to what they do best.
Yeah.
At least that would be. I would hope so. I guess that's wishful thinking.
I mean, like I said, they got their start under by rebranding THQ, and they came back better than ever. So like,
right.
I guess that's good. And Crystal Dynamics and Eidos weren't exactly thriving under Square Enix because there was a bunch of properties that were just not getting made. Tomb Raider those games were decent, but like they kind of lost what they were going. Like the first game was like a very good reboot, and then they just kind of made two more, and people forgot about them. But I think that could be a really big franchise if they actually put effort into it. Deus Ex hasn't had a new game since 2017, I think. Like, obviously the Avengers game had issues. That was also Crystal Dynamics. Like, I think these studios could thrive under them. I think Middle Earth has potential. Like, if a huge company like this just owns all the properties, and they have, there could be, since they own Dark Horse, there can be an entire Dark Horse brand of, Middle Earth content comics out there, or they can have any of these studios make games or whatever. Like, I think has potential to be really big, but it's also, I'm always very wary of major studios just one company owning a bunch of stuff. It's not always the best thing to happen. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we'll have to see, but I mean, like you said, I feel like since they're kind of like getting them back on their feet and letting them thrive, I feel like this could be potentially a resurgence of all those companies that we've like, oh man, this team is gone, this company's gone, They see if they can bring them back.
Yeah. So that's just kind of something to keep an eye on.
Keep on the lookout.
Yeah.
And it's, what was it?
The Embracer Group. Yeah, like, embrace, like hug, like, it does kind of, that name does kind of feel shady because like they're coming to like grab everything. And it seems like they kind of are.
Embrace it.
So yeah, that's just something to keep an eye on. Moving on. Dan Harmon once again claims a Community movie is in the works.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, they did say 6 seasons in a movie.
They
did.
I mean, and they forced 6 seasons out there.
They did. That's what I'm saying. They squeezed 6 out when really you only had about 4. So
I've only seen 3 and I stopped. I don't
yeah, you stopped. You had a solid time. But I mean, if they get everyone back, I mean.
But didn't like several characters die or like move on or whatever?
Yes. I mean, Chevy Chase's character got killed off for other reasons, but I mean, other than that, it's like, I mean, apparently people just kind of left, but I mean, they could theoretically come back. I don't see why not. Like, you just write them in, like, oh, they're back. Like,
Yeah, I could very easily see this being just like. I could very easily see it where essentially the movie. Because Dan Harmon's a maniac. He could essentially starts just like it's a normal episode of Community where they're at the table just talking about something and like 10 minutes go by and it's just like a normal episode of the show before Abed like realizes he's in a movie and then like stuff spirals from there. Like I think that could work. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I think that would work. I mean, you could kind of do whatever you want with it. That's kind of the thing. It's like you could just kind of do. I mean, it could be from Abed's perspective, so literally there's no limits.
Yeah.
And then, other than that, just like, yeah, like just make more witty, funny humor and go from there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, especially if they do get at least the majority of the cast back. Like, yeah, all pretty much every actor seems to be doing very well. So I would kind of understand if Donald Glover wouldn't necessarily want to come back to play Troy again, but like, I, I, I think he should. Like I think it has potential to be really good, but he's tried making this movie several times before, but now it's like it's actually happening, but we'll see.
Anything's possible, but yeah, I mean, like they said, they always said 6 seasons in a movie, so I mean, you kind of have to at this point, right?
Last topic I have. So the very end of last episode, you mentioned that you wanted to talk to me about Breath of the Wild at some point. So let's do that.
Is it time?
It's time.
Okay. Oh man. Okay. So I was very late to this game, obviously.
Right.
This game came out 2017. I got a Switch for Christmas last year.
Mm-hmm.
It was our Christmas present to ourselves because we have money now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, I got a Switch Christmas. I didn't get this game till I want to say early March this year.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I know I'm gonna love this game because everyone loves this game. But I was just kind of like, I'd never played a Zelda game because I was always we grew up on PlayStation.
Right.
So like, I never had a GameCube, never had a Switch. I got a Wii, but we only played like Mario Kart. Like,
yeah.
I'd never played a Zelda game. So I was just like, I've heard this is the best game ever. It got game for a year. Like, I had never heard anything bad about this game. I heard this game was like, people were like, I would merit this game. So it's like, you know what? It's probably worth a $40 purchase. Sure, why not?
Yeah.
So I got this game, and I'm just like, oh, dude, this game is wild. Like, it is probably my favorite game ever.
Really?
Straight up.
Wow.
Straight up. Like, I mean, like, because I was like, at first I was fighting. I was like, no, I'm just fighting. And then I was like, nah.
More than Mega Man Battle Network, more than any Star Wars game.
Probably, honestly, because like, what? Like, okay, so like you don't. I played this game too much. Like, I have 200 hours. It's bad. Like, it's
right.
Like it's weird because like when I first got this game, I played it for like 6-hour sittings, just like just going. And I'm just going, and it was not like getting old. There's so much to do, and the whole map is like stuff. There's still stuff just sitting there I haven't even run into yet because the map's ridiculous. And it's like, I like it because it's like, it's one of those games that it's very easy, but it's interesting. So it doesn't matter. You don't care. Because I think I've died like 4 times, but at the same time, it's like, especially once you get Mipha's Grace, it's like, when do you really die? You know what I mean? It's like.
I mean, if you try to sequence break or like go, or like, there are like bigger enemies that maybe you have a sword that's badly damaged, you don't realize it, and you try to attack a giant, one of those giant, like Cyclops things. You just, oh,
Yeah,
it
I
broke,
mean,
and then you die.
like, okay, so like, so I know everyone has different orders and how, which again, this game has no real like order. It's just kind of like go.
Yeah.
So like, I didn't know where to go because I'm very bad at directions, and when you don't have a map, you just kind of wander.
Yeah.
So I kind of just wandered for a while. So I went to the desert first.
Oh.
Which is interesting because that right, yeah. Every time I say it, I get that reaction. Everyone's just like, "Oh, you started in the desert," which is like because everyone gives me that same reaction. They're just like, "Oh, you went to the hardest one." And
Yeah,
I
it's
was
like
well, I didn't
supposedly the
know.
last
I was
level.
just, that's what I'm saying. Like for me, I started there. So and again, it was like it was challenging because it's like wow, I had to do the whole like the stealth Yaga like hideout mission. You had to do the whole like I mean, like all just the desert and all this stuff, and like, but again, and like, but I thought it was so cool. Like, you get the divine beast, like puzzle and all of that, and like, and then I found, and then what was it, lightning blight Ganon got bodied so hard because I'm like, I don't know, I can't block, I can't die, like, I don't know what to do. So eventually I beat it, but it took a minute. But like, but then you get the champion abilities and. Obosa's Fury is so OP that no boss ever bothers you ever again.
Yep.
At the start of the game. So I was just kind of like, oh, this is going to be easy. So pretty much the rest of the game, I'm not worried about anything because I can just charge up and just wreck anybody. So, like, I used to be like, oh, like, because I remember, like, I would run into, like, remember I told you, I was like, I started out and I just walked up and then giant stone talus. And you're just like, oh my God. Like, you know what I mean? But now you're just like, oh, hey, what's up? Like, and it's like, but no, it's a really fun because you level up. You're like, oh, do I want to do stamina? Do I want to do hearts? And it's like, there's more than one way to do everything, which is really great because this is a game you can really make it your own. Because I love it when I'll figure out a shrine and then I'll look it up and see if that's even the right, the right way to do it. And half the time it's not. I usually made it way hard. I remember one time I timed it where I put 2 bombs on opposite sides and used it air, all this stuff, and it was like, oh, you're just supposed to pick up the laser and put it over there. And I would have never thought of that. You know what I mean? I thought it was this super hard thing, and then the guy just yeah, you just picked this up. I was like, I spent 20 minutes on that. It was a 5-second thing, and I was just like, whatever, I don't care. But I still picked because the only shrines I had to look up. There was there was one where it's the one where you have to keep using the paraglider to float up, and you can't see the last place, but you get all the way around. But you would have to go there and risk dying in order to find it. So I didn't know it was there. But most of them I didn't look up because I was I feel confident. I can do it, or I'll figure it out. Because again, they're hard, but they're never too hard.
Yeah.
Or the maze. I had to look up the first maze, but I didn't end up looking up all the mazes because I was like, no, I can do a maze. I'm an adult. I can do this.
They're not hard, but they could get a little tedious after a while because there are 120 of those suckers. So
I know. I'm not even done. I think I have 115, and I don't know where the rest of them are. So I'm trying to find them without looking it up because I don't want to look it up. But it's do I just comb the entire map?
Literally, yes.
Right? And it's that is the correct answer. And it's it is. And I just oh my gosh, there's so much to do. But that's why I like this game. You just walk around and you just find, oh, boom, here's a quest here. Oh, here's this. Here's that. Here's this. Here's a magic unicorn. You know what I mean? There's just pretty much everything just sitting around. And and it's great, and I love the there's different armor that has different abilities, and you can level up your armor by getting whatever with the fairies, whatever that is, but it's weird, but whatever. But I mean, whatever works, I sure the first time I leveled all the way up, and I was like, wow, what just happened? All right, but it's but it's so much fun, and what I like about it is like the game will tell you stuff, but it will also not tell you a lot of stuff, and you kind of just figure. And then, but it's funny because like the game knows you're gonna figure it out, so it's like once you figure it out, it's like, oh yeah, you can do this. I'm like, why didn't you tell me that before? So I just knew I do. It's like you wouldn't have learned how to do it if I told you. It's like,
yep. But another thing I love so much about this game is that because there's so much the game doesn't tell you, and because the physics engine is so sophisticated, people are still figuring out random stuff to do. They're like 3 years after the game came out, there was this one clip on Twitter of this guy, like, I think if I remember correctly, he like threw a boomerang out and it like came back to him. He like jumped over it, so it like spun around him in a certain way. Then he slammed down an electric weapon, and it just created this like electric dome around him and just instantly killed the Lizalfos from him. Like, okay, you can just do that. Why not?
Like,
and then literally yesterday, there's a clip on Twitter I saw of this guy, like, he was fighting one of the Lizalfos with the boomerang. He threw it. He jumped back into Matrix time, caught it, and then immediately threw it back. Like, that makes sense, but I never thought to do that.
No, right?
I would have
never thought about that.
Like,
that's so smart.
Like, yeah, I know you can like dodge, but I guess if you don't have the weapon, yeah, you would just pick it up, and then why not just throw it? Like, yeah,
just do it again.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't. This is what I mean. It's like there's so much to learn in this game. There's so many different things, and like different weapons work differently. There's so many strategies, and like it's just a really, really smart game. And there's all these sequences. There's so much hidden stuff. There's like, I mean, there's so much stuff going on. Like, the regions are beautiful. The game, like, there's literally a desert, the frozen tundra, basically a volcano, and then just kind of there's everything in between. There's dragons just around. The first time I saw a dragon, I almost peed myself. I thought it was going to try to kill me. Like, I was like
I just saw it in the distance. Like, what is that thing?
Right?
You get close to it. It's like you get close to where it is, and it's not there. It's like, but where? And then like you realize it comes in cycles, and you finally go to it. It's like, oh, it's not trying to kill me. What if I tried to shoot it, and then you shoot it, and like something comes off it? It's
yeah,
like,
no, I found that out on accident. I wasn't even trying to hit it. I just hit it, and I was like, wait, is that a shooting star? No, it came for the dragon. I'm like, oh, because then I was like, oh, that's what that is. Because I remember there was like, I think it was the Spring of Courage or whatever, one of them, and it was like, bring a shard of dread. And I was like, the heck is that? I was just kind of like, oh, I don't know what the heck that is. I don't know how I'm gonna do that. And I was like, oh, it's the dragons. And it all made sense. And it's just like, but there's so much to do, and then just like so I went deserts, then Zora's Domain, then I went to Rito Village, and then I went Death Mountain. So I went, I feel, if I ever play this game again, I'm gonna do it in the opposite order, knowing what I know, because like it feels so like weird having different powers at different times.
Yeah, the water one is definitely the like intended first one to go to.
Right.
Then I think Death Mountain is maybe that or
I feel like it's
last, but
I feel like it's supposed to be like water, wind. Wait. I'm trying to think. Would it be in a cycle? Is it like the Avatar cycle?
I mean, not really. Now that I mentioned it, I do kind of feel like, since you mentioned just how strong Urbosa's fury is, that's probably supposed to be last.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. And also, like, the boss was way harder than all the other ones. It really is. Like, even with because it makes you drop everything. So it's like, because you don't really have anything to defend yourself from lightning until you beat that area anyway.
Yeah.
So it's like, you just kind of, because I dropped like all my shields. Like, I just remember being like, what do I do? Like,
and like you said, I love so much how like even though this game does have like an intended path for you, it doesn't, like, you're not required to do anything in any given order. You can be as creative as you want to be, even if it's accidentally. Because there was one point where I was about to fight the first beast I got to, which was the water one, and Sidon was like, you'll need about 20 or so shock arrows, but we don't have any of those here. But if you go just up the mountain a little bit ways, there's this there's this Lionel who shoots them at you. So if you go collect them off of him, and like, well, I don't want to do that. I checked my inventory. At some point, I collected like a bunch of shock arrows. I think I bought them at a shop somewhere. I was like, that's
probably
cool. I was like, I just have these. Like, I don't want to do it.
Nope, not gonna fight that.
And then just like well past that point, like I was probably like at least two divine beasts in at this point. I was checking the area of the map and I saw that Lionel. And I was like, oh, now I'm finally fighting him. And then I actually beat him because I was, actually had
better
weapons. Yeah. The only two things I feel like Breath of the Wild 2 needs to like heavily improve on is the ability to either reforge, sharpen, or like have a better system of like just somehow enhance the
weapon durability.
Yeah, the durability of weapons, because like they do break kind of fast.
Like especially the good ones.
Yes, like they do. There are ways to like get like broadswords and like other bigger weapons from enemies here and there pretty regularly, but like I liked the smaller weapons. I liked the ancient weapons especially. I loved those, but but they're just they're not that common.
They break
They break easily, yeah. So there's a way to either make new ones with just like stuff you gather, or sharpen ones you have to make them last longer. That's like my number one complaint about
that's like
Breath of the
most
Wild.
people too. Yeah,
But it doesn't like deter me from playing, because I kind of feel it's kind of baked into just the system of the game to like, oh, this weapon breaks, but you have so much inventory you can just cycle through them. But once like it kind of helps you seek out stronger weapons and stronger foes to get stuff from them. I feel it kind of helps you explore, but it doesn't need to be as restrictive as it is. And my second one is, I do kind of agree the story isn't like the greatest thing ever, but that's not the point of the game necessarily.
Yeah.
But like,
I feel like a lot of it. I feel like, because again, I feel like this game very much you are supposed to be Link. So it's like the story is very basic on purpose because it doesn't want to give your character a lot of personality, so you can kind of be your own person.
Yeah.
Like all you really know is like, oh, he doesn't really talk. It's like, okay, but that could be for any reason, So it's like, they don't get too into it.
Yeah, and especially since one very legit path to beating this game is somehow getting off Grand Plateau, gunning it straight towards the castle, and then just winning. You can do that.
It is possible.
Like,
you just go in against Ganon with your pot lid.
Yeah,
and just say, come on.
Like, the story not being a super major focus of that game allows it to be probably the best open world game, because you can just do whatever.
Do whatever, go for it. Like you can try. Like, will you survive? Probably not, but I mean, it is possible.
Yeah.
That is one thing.
But yeah, this game is 5 years old and it's still the best game ever. Like, how is that?
It's just that good, and like that's the thing. It's like the detail. It's so detail oriented. Like you get, like again, the fact that you can just shoot an arrow or throw something and then go get it, as long as it doesn't break, is awesome.
Yep. People were clowning on Horizon Zero Dawn when it came out, like weeks before, like I think 2 weeks before Breath of the Wild came out, and like heavy comparisons between those games. Like, yes, Horizon technically looked like visually better, but I personally like the art style of Breath of the Wild better. But like the physics engine of Breath of the Wild is so good. And yeah, like you said, just the ability to interact with the world, like shoot an arrow and just pick it up later. Chop down trees, like burn grass. You can't do that. Even in the sequel, Horizon Forbidden West, you can't do that. It's like I thought we were past this.
No.
And especially like just the ability to climb anything. If I ever play another open world game that even is like trying to kind of be Zelda, like if I can't climb literally everything, I'll feel like
I don't want it.
I don't want it. Yeah. Because the guy saw.
No.
Oh, go.
No, because like I played Assassin's Creed for this, which one of the big things is like like parkour, free running, like you can climb everything, which you can, and it feels great. But then you go to this, and you're like, oh, this is really what it's like. Like you can actually just say, oh, there's a mountain. Let's get it. Like, you know what I mean? There's no limits, really. Yeah. Except when it rains, which I will say, one of my biggest gripes is there's no equipment that's rain resistant.
That is a good point.
Because that 100% should be a thing. Like, I have everything. Yeah. Like, the fact that I can, like, have shock resistant, swim faster, cold, whatever, but, like, I don't have, like, rain. Like, because I feel like the climbing, like, garb fit should have rain resistant. Like, I feel like that was a natural. Like, I know you can climb faster, but still, like,
or like an upgraded version of it could let you do that or something. But...
Yeah, I think that would definitely be something. Because like, so many times I would like be like, okay, I got to do this, and then it's like rain. I'm just like, oh.
Or like you're climbing and it just starts raining and you just
yes.
Fall. Yeah. The ability, because the Legend of Zelda Wind Waker, has the Wind Waker lets you literally control the weather. So like having either literally that exact item or something similar to it in the sequel that allows you to change the weather at least at some point in the game, that'd be ideal.
Yeah, or something like that, just to like, because I mean, I don't get me wrong, I did like how the weather was kind of random. I did kind of think it was kind of cool. It took me way too long to realize that the weather was, you could see the forecast. Like, it took me, like, way too long to know that was a thing. But, like, I did like that. I like having to, like, battle the elements in certain ways where it's like, oh, it's raining. But if you make this fire under this, like, tree, you can pass the time or something like that. Like, that, you know what I mean? Like, try to work around or something. But, like, yeah, it was really cool. And, like, I think the biggest thing I like this game is, like, when you start, you're afraid because everything can kill you. But by the time you're done, everything's afraid of you because you can kill anything. Because, like, I just remember the Guardian music used to make me, like, scream. I'm like, oh, no! And now it's just like, where is he?
Yep.
Like, yes! Like, it's like my champion senses are tingling. Like,
one of my all-time favorite moments playing this game was, there was one moment where, like, I was getting chased by a guardian, and like chased me into this woods area, and I had been to this area before. I was like, just to my right, there's this like big clearing where I know one of those like big rock monsters is gonna come out. I wonder what would happen if I interacted with that while this thing is chasing me. Turns out they'll fight each other. So yeah, like the big rock monster comes out and they start fighting. It's like
I have seen clips like that where like they'll just fight each other. You just kind of just like popcorn. You're just like, oh my gosh, like that's so cool though, because that does make sense. Because theoretically, the Guardians are trying to destroy everything. I think.
Yeah, I think.
So like, I feel like anything in their path is like free real estate. So it's like, I mean, I don't know, but that's so great. Just like, but like the fact that that's even a possibility is great. And like, and I like how like, you know how like for a lot of games, if you get out of a certain distance, enemies just disappear.
Yeah.
And you like teleport back to where I was like, no. They're still there. like it's still there. Like you can hide if you want. It's waiting on you when you get out. Like I don't know. It's smart. And like even though the Guardians are very straightforward, I really like how they're like, I don't know. It's very imposing. because they're not like anything else, because everything else feels more natural or like Earth based or something, or like it's either a monster, and they're like, oh no, this is a Terminator robot basically, like kind of in the middle of nowhere, just coming to kill you. And there's different types and all this stuff. Like I just like because like the first time I went to Hyrule Castle, I walked in, like 4 Guardians were like immediately locked out. I'm just like, nope. I am so glad I waited until I was done to get here, because if I just tried this for fun, I'd have been dead immediately.
Yeah.
But it's like, oh my gosh. But yeah, it was so much fun, and like, I don't know, like it felt really rewarding actually, like going to all the places, doing all the things, getting all the powers, leveling up, and then finishing the game. You're just like, yeah, I feel like I can take on anything. And then you Dan. Because, like, it's harder to get to Ganon than actually fighting Ganon. But, I mean...
Because, yeah, the bosses aren't the hardest. But, like...
No.
Again, that's not really the point. Exploration was the point, I think.
For sure.
And like, even though, like, there are some people that argue that, like, the world is lifeless. There's no, like, wildlife. There's nothing to do. It's like, that's just not true. There's little critters. There's horses. There's enemies. There's chests. There's just... either Koroks or shrines everywhere.
You can literally just like take pictures and explore. Like that's a whole thing. Like you could just, there's so much to do. Like interact with like just interact with wildlife. What happens if I do this with a pond of fish or whatever? Like I don't, you know what I mean? There's so many different types of creatures and whatnot to mess with. You can ride a bear.
Like, you can ride a bear.
Like, it's crazy. It's hard to do because I got mauled the last time I tried, but you could, like, there's so much you can do in this game. Like, I mean, I don't know. But it's smart, too. It's not like, I like it because a lot of the, like, just, like, side quests or puzzles aren't just, like, oh, go here. Like, some of them are just, go here, fight this person, and leave. But a lot of them are like, oh, I wonder what's causing this issue. And you kind of have to just go figure it out. Like, I remember there was one where, like, the stable was like, I don't know why we have lightning problems here. And I thought it was because of the lightning dragon. So I'm like, do I have to talk to the dragon? Do I fight the dragon? What do I do? Turns out, it's just the axe on the roof.
Right.
which is smart, because, like, that makes sense. But it's obviously, like, I don't know if they're trying to throw you off on purpose, or I'm just dumb. Like, I don't know. But, like, I thought that was really cool. And I don't know. It's just, I don't know. And, yeah, like, the fact that you can get struck by lightning is interesting. Like,
oh, yeah. I remember the first time that happened to me, I was just running through a field, and it started raining. And I had, like a metal shield in my back. And I was just running. And, like, the game tried to warn me you're about to get struck, because, like, it was blinking. It was like,
right,
it was doing the thing. I didn't know. Dead.
Well, that's the thing. I feel like it's one of those things where it's like, again, I mean, I know it has the, like, loading screen tips, but, like, they're so few and far between. If you missed it, you missed it. And it's like, it's one of those things that, like, I feel like if you didn't, like, if you're not looking for it, you have no idea until it's too late. So it's just kind of like... And
like, the first time it happens, you might not know why. It might just...
Right!
Like, I just got struck. But not knowing that it's metal stuff conducts, which makes sense, but you don't, like, think about it.
Right, you're like, this game's not that smart, is it? Yes.
It is. Oh, it is.
But it's like, yeah, no, it's great, because, like, I thought it was some kind of enemy. I was like, did I just walk into a random zone and someone just, like, Zeus or somebody just wrecked me? Like, I don't know what happened, but, like, no, it's, yeah, you have to do that, and, like, yeah, it's just smart, and, like, I really like, I don't know, just all the weapons and all, like, and, like, yeah, like, the creativeness of the shrines, I think, is, because, like, I mean, there are so many different ways you have to, like, you know what I mean? Sometimes you have to shoot an arrow from across the map, and, like, I was telling my brother this morning, but it's like, I love it how, like, you could think you're trying to solve it, and you're doing something completely stupid somewhere else, and you're like, almost got it, and, like, nothing's happening. But, like, half the time you do that, you're right. So, like, like, even today, I was doing a shrine, and I was like, I think if I hit this arrow while standing over here, while it's noon, it'll work. But I don't know. So I'm just shooting arrows, hoping for the best. And then one of them works, and I'm just like, all right.
I don't know why, but I did it.
I don't know why, but it worked. And like, I don't, yeah, it's no. The amount of times I've been doing something and definitely not even close to what was actually supposed to be done was so stupid.
My favorite shrine I did was so there's this one like valley area where like on both sides of the valley there's these shrines that like when you do the puzzle to one, it gives you a clue to the other one.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that, so I just like was just like putting the balls in random places, and eventually I got it.
It eventually works.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And then like the second one is like, it's like the twin shrine from across. Is like,
What?
did I just not read that the first time? It's like,
The fact that you got that without even like trying is insane. Like you just read.
it took me a while to like to do it, but
I mean, it worked, but no, it's so like some of the shrines are so smart, and then some of them are literally just like put ball in hole, but you have to do it fancy, like it's just like okay, but like I don't wanna, but then you have to do it anyway. And then like it's always funny when you like struggle, and then someone online just like, oh yeah, you just win ball over that, and I'm just like,
what?
I can what now? So then I have to look at a YouTube. I still can't do it, by the way. I need to work on that.
Yeah, yeah. There's a way to like drop a bomb, then switch back. It's
you like switch bombs, and then it blows up the bomb, and that bomb hits you from the force of the first bomb.
Yeah,
launches you. Yeah, something like that. It's a whole thing. It's so much fun. But that's what I mean. It's like that's not even a real mechanic, but it's such a common thing now.
Yeah. I'm also just now realizing that like once I realized I needed the first shrine to like give a clue to the second one or vice versa. I remember going back to the first shrine, like seeing the clue it needed me to do, taking out a sheet of paper and like writing the like thing. I have a camera.
That's what I was about to say.
I just didn't.
Well, no, it's you don't think about it all the time, but no, you have a camera because you could take a picture, walk over, and then. Oh,
didn't even cross my mind until right now.
No, it's so bad because like I remember with the camera, like I took a picture of how you have to take it's like what is it, the Great Skeletons or whatever. Like I took a picture and eventually I found them all, which took forever to find the third one. And I took them all and then I got back and he's like, I don't see your picture. And I didn't realize you didn't just have to take a picture and it saved to like the Hyrule Compendium or whatever. You had to have it still in your inventory. But I purged all my pictures because I had them all. So I had to go back and take them all over. And I was just like, you couldn't have mentioned, like, how do I have it but not have it? That makes no sense. But like, it's fine. Everything's fine. Like, but no, it's like, I always love like figuring out something and then like, it makes my life for the blue flame thing when you realize, oh, you can just use arrows and it's like, oh, you just don't like.
It doesn't have to be just the torch. It can be most things. Yeah.
Yes, but it's like you don't think about it, but you're like, that's right. Arrows are wood. It would have burned. That would have totally worked. That's so. Oh.
Or just like there was one time where I had like I tried to get like a group of bokoblins in like an area where I could like I had the high ground, like try to like shoot them with a bomb arrow, not thinking that it was raining. I went to shoot them and it just
right.
Like, oh right, it's raining, so of course the bomb wouldn't go off. But
because it's like which makes so. But apparently, if it stops raining and then you light a bomb arrow, it will explode.
Yes.
So like you can just be sitting there and you can like use a bomb and then boom. So like, which is also cool because like I don't know, that's so smart. But like, yeah, it's like you have to actually think about things and stuff like that, or like, or like certain elemental weapons either don't work or like are super effective against certain enemies and like stuff like that. And like, it's just like little, like that stuff's really cool and appreciate it. And like, I don't know, I just really liked everything.
Yeah.
I don't know, it's just so smart. And like the variety of puzzles and like some things just don't make sense. Like, oh, this puzzle, like, this is a dark forest. You have to go through here and beat a boss for the shrine. Why is this forest cursed? We don't know. Good luck. Yeah. And it's like, okay, this is so scary. Like, no, and then like the Master Sword, which it took me forever. Like, I didn't know where the Master Sword was. So like I was looking everywhere else. Like all I knew was in a forest. So I'm looking in like the bottom corner of the map, and I'm like, maybe it's this forest, maybe it's this forest. And it takes me forever to get to the actual Hyrule Forest, and I'm like, oh, it's in here. I've been wasting all this time looking for the Master Sword. And then I'm like, okay, I'll just go get the
Nope.
What? Nope. And it's just like they just go back to the start, and you're just like, how did I walk wrong?
They give you a torch and like expect you just to know what to do with it.
Right? Like, figure it out. I'm like, no one was there to explain it. You just kind of have to just
subtly
go.
Know, like the way the flame goes, that's where you go. Like, how am I supposed to know that?
Right? Like, I just, like, it took so long to, like, it, honestly, I figured that out after I actually found it. I just brute forced my way and eventually figured out. Because if you realize it's spawning, you just run away. And just like, oh, not that way, right. Okay. Like, so I just did that eventually, and then I'm like, oh, and the forest is like super nice. Like, oh, that's great. And I was like, please God, there's be a shrine because I will not be able to get back. And thankfully there was, so I was like, okay, cool, I can like fast travel. But like, yeah, the Master Sword was really cool, and like at first I was like, I don't get it. And then I realized it doubles when you fight guardians, and I was like, oh, now I get it. It's a lot better now, because I was like, 30's kind of trash at this point. There it is. And there's always that cool scene whenever you fight Ganon, and he just like takes the sword out and just it's like a lightsaber. I'm just like, oh, that's so cool. It's like, that was so worth it. That was so worth 13 hearts or however many.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, just awesome game. There's so much to say, and like I haven't got the DLC yet, but I'm probably gonna get it soon just because I know there's so much more. And it's a really great game. I feel bad because now I feel like every Zelda game I'm not gonna enjoy because I'm stuck gonna be this one. But
I mean, I feel that way with most games.
You just like everything's less fulfilling now. I mean, it's not the perfect game, but it's really good. Like, and again, like you said, the story is kind of bland, but I feel like that's on purpose. It's like, basically, oh, the princess needs your help. You have to save the day. Go. And it's like, it's a game that doesn't micromanage you. It's basically how you describe it. This game is like, at some point, you need to defeat Ganon. How you go about doing that is your business.
You spend 1,000 hours just goofing off.
Yes, 100%. You can be in the middle of the woods playing bowling with giant pegs. Like, I don't care. But at some point, go to Hyrule Castle if it's not too much trouble. And it's just like, okay. And like, in the meantime, do all the things and have a great time and learn to swim and that you can drown and that, which I did not know about. Yeah. Or like you run out of energy mid glide and just fall into an abyss and you're just like, oh well, that's awful. But like, and like, yeah, just how smart the game is, where like you think you're just doing nothing and really you just stumble upon a shrine or just something. You're just like, oh, cool. I guess I was doing something without realizing it. And like, yeah, I don't know. It's just like there's a good variety of quests and missions and just everything that it never feels like you're just doing the same thing 10 times. So it's just like, I don't know.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, yeah, it's great. It's a great game.
Yeah. Yeah. Is there anything else you want to bring up or discuss before we sign off today?
Nothing else. She-Hulk came out last week.
Yeah.
Solid.
Yeah, I like it. Yep.
Yeah, I did too.
More.
Me and my brother were laughing, so it's like, okay, that's a win. So it's 13 episodes? How many episodes?
8 or 9.
8?
Maybe
8 or 9. I don't know why I said 13. 8 or 9. But yeah, so far so good.
Mm-hmm.
I have questions, but mostly I'm just waiting for Thursday. So yeah.
Yeah, good. So yeah. With that, we'll see you all next time.
Take care.